This is my vintage shop called Night Vintage. So it is all hand-picked vintage, a mixture of streetwear, vintage and sneakers. I travel across the world to hand-pick and select all the individual items. So Night Vintage started, well, it was when I was traveling in Southeast Asia. I was on my own. I went out there on just a bit of a time to just go travel, see the world. But then 2 weeks in, I found myself in a vintage shop, was picking out crazy pieces. So when I came back then in February 2020, I started an Instagram account. Yo, you know what it is, back, KV Top 3. I'm a little bit late today. There we are, it's one of them things. It's December, it's Christmas. That was before COVID and lockdown. Obviously then, in April I think it was, that COVID hit. That was a big setback for a business that I wanted to be more customer service based. That wasn't available to me, so I had to move it online. Then in August, during the end of the lockdown, I rebranded the business to Night Vintage as it's now known. And then in November 2020, I was offered my spot upstairs in Cardiff Market for about a year and a half, obviously battling COVID then in 2020, and then the return of day-to-day life in 2021. In mid-2021, I opened up the shop downstairs, which we're now located opposite the Welsh Cakes, on one of the main aisles in Cardiff Market, and yeah, since then it's just been thriving. So Night Vintage all came along really was from my three big passions. So I was always skating, I was always watching football, and I was always listening to music. So a big part of all those cultures is the clothing that comes along with it. I'm lucky because I'm a curator, I find individual pieces. I'm lucky I get to find pieces that, you know, reflect on my customer, and they really, you know, gravitate towards those pieces because they really reflect who they are as a person. And past that, I've got exciting plans to open up another shop. I'm not really going to talk too much about it just because it's all in the works at the moment, but it is going to be exciting. And then other than that, just building a community within Cardiff, and I feel like that's important for the youth of Cardiff to know that, you know, we're not a London-based city. We haven't got the same like advantages that kids from London and Bristol have. You know, Welsh creatives always get looked down on because we're just Welsh. We're from a small, you know, country with 3 million population, one of the smallest in the world. And I really feel like it's time now to show people and show Cardiff and the rest of the world that Wales has got something to offer.